Welcome to First Sun News. This is Argumitra, a U.S. senator discussing the concept of an economic bunker buster, a proposed U.S. sanctions bill targeting Russia, China, and India to curb their economic ties with Russia, said U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham. Essentially, it's a kind of sanctions legislation. In his own words, this is an economic bunker buster, and this economic bunker buster will be directed against Russia, India, and China. I want to show you that brief clip, just a few seconds long, then we'll discuss how this economic bunker buster could seriously harm India.
This affect Russia. I've got 84 co-sponsors for a Russian sanctions bill that is an economic bunker buster against China, India, and Russia for their brutal invasion, Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine. I think that bill is going to pass. We're going to give President a waiver. It'll be a tool in his toolbox to bring Putin to the table.
And I hope that there is enough wisdom in the U.S. Parliament not to pass this economic bunker buster against India. I find it very strange that when U.S. senators talk about India, they use exactly the same tone as when they talk about Russia and China. Even so, even now, let me repeat, India and the U.S. have signed many important pacts like LEMOA, COMCASA, and BECA. We are cooperating in various sectors. Very soon, as you know, the NSAR satellite, which is the most expensive satellite in the world to date, will be launched jointly by India and the US. I mean, India-US. Cooperation is visible everywhere. We may be in a golden era of India-US cooperation, but still, what I see is that the majority of US senators, those who vote and represent in Parliament, for some reason always view India in comparison with China and Russia. Meanwhile, India has never taken even a remote step to hurt US interests, unlike China and Russia. If you ask why, one logic becomes clear. Americans view any potential future superpower, or even a regional power, with suspicion. You'll remember a viral video some time ago, I even shared it, where a top US economist was asked by a journalist, "Why do we always act against Russia? Why don't we try to weaken India?" The economist replied, "When India rises a bit more, what we're doing to Russia, we'll start doing it to India as well in the future."
It's destroying Ukraine. The target is to, quote, weaken Russia. This is the point.
But why would you want to?
To weaken Russia? That's an even longer story.
I mean, no one wants to weaken India.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And someday, when India succeeds, we will want to weaken India. So that's
probably sooner rather than later.
It's actually quite interesting.
Honestly, it makes me a bit proud to see that as Indians, we've reached a level where Americans casually discuss weakening India. See, it's a law of nature. When you're rising, the world will somewhere try to weaken you. Empires have always done that. I'm not saying that what the US is doing is evil. No, it's historical statecraft, like the British Empire, the Russian Empire, Napoleon, etc. But at the same time, I think India should be extremely careful. Now, this talk of an economic bunker buster against Russia, India, and China. You need to understand. This bill is just plain stupid. It doesn't even make any sense. Here's why. The bill says that any country that buys uranium, natural gas, or oil from Russia, the US will impose sweeping sanctions and trade barriers globally. Essentially, it will harshly penalize any country importing those from Russia. Interestingly, Pakistan is included here because recently Pakistan has also purchased Russian natural gas. That said, I don't think Pakistan will be penalized. Why? Because Pakistan has become a favorite of Donald Trump, thanks to the Nobel Prize talks and Bitcoin investments. This economic bunker buster will definitely harm India and China. And if someone says, well, there's a simple solution, just stop buying oil and gas from Russia. The problem is this. Right now is the worst possible time to pass this bill. Why? Because India has doubled its oil imports from Russia. Why? Because of the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial choke point through which 20% of the world's oil is exported. Whether that strait remains open is uncertain, because Iran's parliament has instructed its military to block that trade. We don't know if Iran's military will follow this, but the Iranian navy might carry out that block. Yet India has recently insulated itself from disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz. We've already stocked up on large quantities of Russian oil and boosted our imports from Russia and other sources. So the US is targeting India at the worst possible moment, saying, "Show us oil purchases from Russia or face sanctions." What can we do? I don't see any real option. The US could say, "Okay, buy oil from us," but I don't think the US can scale oil exports sufficiently. Plus, importing from the US takes longer. Russia is geographically much closer to India, so delivery times will be longer. So this is a major problem for India. I hope that a majority of US senators are wise enough to include exceptions in this bill so countries like India aren't targeted. Or, if they do hit India, China, and Russia with this economic bunker buster, I think the US will inadvertently push those three countries into forming a very strong alliance. Russia has already said that the RIC trilateral must be revived, as per its foreign minister. In the coming days, we'll have to see whether the US genuinely applies this bunker buster to India or not. Another reason is that the US had expectations from India, like purchasing IT infrastructure, buying F-35 jets, and nominating Donald Trump for the Nobel Prize like Pakistan. Since India hasn't met those expectations, there is frustration in the Trump administration toward India. So we'll have to watch what happens next. Major updates related to this will come in the future, and they will impact India significantly. Please monitor this topic closely, as several upcoming developments are expected to emerge soon, along with additional news becoming evident. I will persist in providing you with confirmed and current videos. My aim is always to guarantee that even if there is a slight delay in a video, it will include accurate, verified sources, enabling me to clearly elucidate the real events. I don't claim to rely on traditional sources like others do. I prioritize creativity and thoroughness in supporting the content of my videos. If you found my video helpful, please consider liking, subscribing to, and sharing it. Feel free to share your honest thoughts in the comments, as I value your feedback.